Talk more about the hydration as a whole. You talked about the importance of getting some electrolytes in up to a couple times a day. How do you look at, because I know this is a big piece of overall health and wellness for you, staying hydrated. How do you look at that?
So have you had Rick Johnson on the show yet?
I have. It's been a while, and we're talking about having a round two.
Oh, you
So
got to have
he's
around two.
great.
I'm kind of obsessed with Rick. Like he's first of all one of the sweetest guys ever, but just so smart. So I have a big like professor crush on Rick Johnson. And Rick, I recently interviewed him, and he was telling me something so interesting about hydration. I mean, first of all, like when you look at my whole world is really like fat loss, having good muscle quality, which hydration's mission critical, right? Talk about one of the most underutilized tools just for appetite control. And I'd love to talk about appetite control, GLP-1s, all of that as well. But hydration, even mild dehydration. So we knew mild dehydration could raise cortisol, and that drinking water improves metabolism, can boost metabolism transiently, like 300%, transiently, not like people are like, oh, I'll just drink water and lose weight. Well, no, it's a little boost for a short amount of time, but it still is. But the bigger thing is what happens when you're dehydrated and mildly dehydrated. We're talking like 1% dehydrated, which you'd never notice, right? Turns out that what happens with mild dehydration is kind of like a camel situation where your liver takes glycogen, frees it up and turns it into fructose. This is not the way we want this pathway to go. Normally, like fructose goes to the liver, and we're hopeful that there's enough space in the liver for fructose to get converted to glucose into glycogen and stored. What happens when we're dehydrated is that glycogen gets freed up and converted from glucose to fructose. Fructose is then stored as fat. Now you listen to this and go, why on earth would our body do that? Well, it's the same reason why camels have the fat pad. When you burn fat, you free up water. So if we're dehydrated, our body goes, uh-oh, we better store fat so that we've got water available if we get more dehydrated. Which is crazy, like crazy when you think about that. So you have the cortisol impact, you've got the storing more fat impact. And then if you're drinking optimal water, what's happening? You've got better satiety. You're able to detoxify well. You've got a metabolic boost. So you're kind of like, well, why would you ever want to be dehydrated? So how do you know if you're hydrated or well is always kind of the question. And that's where these bioimpedance scales can work so well because they're looking at total body water. And in fact, I'll tell you a funny story. When I was doing the Dr. Phil weight loss challenges, we had this competition going, and I had my bioimpedance scale that I would bring in every week. It was this $5,000 segmental Tonito. It was state of the art at the time. And we were having this contest, and the group that lost the most weight over the month was going to get to go to Canyon Ranch. And so we literally that morning weighed each person. We were adding up all their weight, and whoever lost the most weight, the total group won. One group lost by won by a half a pound. They'd lost 1/2 pound total more than the other group. But I'm looking at the scale and the bioimpedance, and I'm like, what is up? Because I could see that they were super dehydrated. And it turns out what they'd done the day before was they hadn't eaten and they hadn't drank. And they went and they were out like treadmill running all day long. And then they put themselves in their bathrooms, plugged underneath the door of the bathroom with towels, turned on the water to full steam, and dehydrated themselves. So what's great about these bioimpedance, I could see it. I was like, uh-oh, I know what they did, but we didn't say they couldn't do it. So I'm like, oh, that was resourceful. What are you going to do? I'm just going to keep quiet on this one because this will mess up the contest. So that's what's great about bioimpedance scales is it can help you track your total body water, which, more muscle mass, more total body water. We want to see that going up. So it'll help you see if you're where you need to be, or if all of a sudden, boom, your weight drops and your body fat went up. Really, all that happened was you got dehydrated. And so that's one way that you can monitor. The other way is just, as long as you're far away from your B vitamins, it's like, is your urine getting more clear? What I like to tell people is start with basically half your body weight in ounces, and then add a half an ounce to an ounce per minute of real exercise. So if you go to the gym and you spend 10 minutes lifting weights and 20 minutes on your phone, you had 10 minutes of real exercise, which is, I watch people at the gym. That's what I see. I see a lot of time on the phone.
And other than the electrolytes, what are the other things you look for when it comes to hydration? Like filtering the water. Some people add sea salt to add electrolytes in. What are the different things that you're doing to optimize hydration?
So one, I've like stay away from the plastic bottles. So filter your water, super duper important. And if you have to buy water out, get the glass. If you can't find anything else, then find those bottles that say that they are BPA free, et cetera. But you can also buy the bottles that will filter it. Um, what I like to add into water is I add in electrolytes, and I'll do 2 servings of electrolytes a day. But I'm going to the gym. What I like to do is electrolytes, amino acids, and a little creatine. And I'm playing around with creatine right now. I'm deep in creatine research as to what the best dosing is. Because when I first started playing around with creatine, I'm like, well, it's all about getting your tissue stores up. So once your tissue stores up, what difference would it make? But now it looks like there might be some reason to kind of dose it throughout the day and drip it. So I'm not quite sure yet. So I tend to either put creatine into my morning smoothie or morning yogurt blend, or I throw it into, if I'm, then I'm going to the gym fairly soon after that, like 30 to 60 minutes. If I haven't done it there, I'm throwing it into my water bottle with my aminos and my electrolytes.
If you enjoyed that clip, you're going to want to head over here and catch a full episode. I'll see you over there.
This idea that you cannot build muscle as you age is absolutely ridiculous and wrong. And I actually am stronger and more powerful at 61 than I was at 25. I am in better shape now than I was then.